Hello everybody, welcome back to Firefield Junction and welcome back to another review for you. Today's model, as we can see, a very special model for us today. Well, certainly for me anyway. Been looking forward to this for absolutely ages. But it's finally here, we finally got it. It's the all-new Cavalex models Class 60 in 00 gauge. Oh my god, can't believe it's finally here. A little bit of a surprise release as well in a way, because well, I think personally, Cavalex, they don't really do an awful lot of updates on their models. Just well, from what I've noticed anyway. You may disagree with me on that, but certainly wasn't really overall expecting when this model was going to arrive, and then suddenly, I think just a matter of weeks ago or around a month ago now or something, all of a sudden we heard that, oh yeah, by the way, they're going to be arriving in the next few weeks or so. Okay, fair enough. That's great news, but yeah, a little bit out of the blue, but fair enough. It was good to finally hear that they were going to be arriving soon. And arrived they have. Yes, they're finally here. Now, which particular one have we got here? Well, the one that we've got for us today specifically, if we look on the end of the box, we can see it's 6009 DC rail livery, and the model code for this one is CM-66029 DCR SF, this sound fitted. Yes, this is the sound fitted version as well. Yeah, I was always going to go for this. Because obviously I run DCC, I love my sound, so I think it was quite obvious that I was going to go for this version. Now, the Cavalex Class 60, they've done loads of different liveries for these, so quite a decent range of liveries out there. So should you be interested in getting one of these, for the most part, it shouldn't be too hard to get a livery that you want. This particular one, though, yeah, not very likely. This particular one, the DC railfreight version, this particular one wasn't exclusive to Key Model Publishing, or well, Key Publishing, so you can only get it from the Key Publishing website. And they have all sold out now, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure that they are all gone now. I think they have already sold the sort of extra leftover stock that they keep, because they keep a few left over after they've done all the pre-orders and everything. But essentially, yeah, just they can keep a few sort of spare and then put them up for sale later, just to make sure that all the pre-orders are covered. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have all fully gone now. So if you want this particular one, it's probably not going to be that easy for you. Unless one comes up secondhand somewhere, which, well, knowing models like this, it probably will, but it'll be way higher than the RRP for these. But speaking of the RRP, if you want one, if you want, say, Cavalex models Class 60, the RRP for the DCC ready version, I believe, was £194.99 or 95, something like that. And if you wanted the sound fitted version, which again, what we've got here, the price for these was £294.99 or 95 again. I'm not too sure on the pence side. It's probably 95, known I think Cavalex, but yeah, basically close, essentially, or just under. Think of it as just under £195 for DCC ready and just under £295 for sound fitted. That's probably a bit of an easier way to put it. So obviously very expensive models, so very high expectations for this. But knowing Cavalex and their previous models that they've done, I'm sure it's likely that those standards will be met. I mean, if we go back to the Class 56 from Cavalex, that was an amazing locomotive, so I'm sure this will live up to the standards. But in terms of the packaging, it's basically your usual Cavalex packaging. It was very sturdy, nice big strong sturdy box. One thing that's a little bit concerning is I think there's a little bit of a rattle coming from the logo inside, so I'm not too sure if there's something loose or something. So I have already quickly opened the box to check that the mod's okay. There was a little bit of a slight rattle coming from the logo, which sounded like something was sort of loose inside it, so I'll have to check that out later. But apart from that, other people have said they've had this as well, but others have said they haven't. But from what I've heard, I don't think it's caused any problems wherever it is. It could just be maybe a loose little bit of detail inside or something. But yeah, I hope it's nothing major. But apart from that, in terms of the packaging, I don't think there's too much else on here really for us to look at. It's pretty much, I suppose, just got a nice line drawing of the logo there. So I suppose all we really need to do is open her up and have a look. So we just lift up the lid, we can put that to one side. Oh, there we go. So first things first, we've got the instructions here, so have a very quick look through these. And yeah, it's quite a decent sized booklet here. Literally got everything we could need to know in here, I'm pretty sure. So Cavalex models Class 60, general information and driving instructions. So again, we'll have a quick flick through this. So yeah, look at this. This is just amazing. So you've got some, I think you've got loads of information here about the real thing. You've got a nice photo there. Click over to the next page. So contents, more general information. Oops, switch page actually. As you can see there, so more instruction there. So I think that's about sort of the start of why they decided to produce this model and stuff. The contents there, so yeah, that's the start of the contents, and yeah, this is the page we were on a minute ago, so we can see more of the contents there. More general information there. Next page, even more general information. They really have gone to town on this. It's really nice. They didn't really have to go to this length, but they have, which is really cool. So much about general information here, and loads of great pictures as well. More information there. Locomotive data. So then that's more about the real thing. More photos. More information. I think this is about sort of various subclasses and sort of different designs for the 60 and all that. Here we go. So this is more about the model. So introduction on the Cavalex Class 60. The features of the model there. I don't think we're going to read through all of those, but yeah, loads and loads of different features there. I'm sure we'll get to see some of those later. So this is good. So this shows the entire range that they've done so far. Obviously, if there isn't a particular livery or logo here that you're interested in, hopefully they'll look at doing it in a later batch. But still, we can see there loads and loads of different logos available. Especially the triple greys. They've done quite a selection of triple grey liveries there, which is quite cool. But so you also got things like Load Haul, EWS, DB, the Colas. So you've got the Kappa DC livery there, GBRF. There's the DC railfreight one that we've got. So there, again, exclusive to Keep Publishing. So think of it, this is all sort of the general releases that you can get from pretty much any retailer. And then these are more of the exclusive models that you can only get from certain places. So again, as we just said, so this one only from Keep Publishing. Got the 3 there limited to Rails of Sheffield, and then you've got 2 there for Ultimate Model Railways, so that's quite good. Again, decent range. The next page, so we can see more information about the model, the buffer beams there. But yes, I did forget about this. The buffer beams on these models are designed so that they are held on by magnets. So if you want to change the buffer beams over between a fully detailed realistic one or one so that you can fit a trench lock coupling to one end, then you can literally just take the buffer beam off, which is held on by a couple of magnets, and easily swap it over. There's no sort of gluing or any screws or anything like that involved. Literally a few seconds on and off, nice and easy job. And so far, from what I've seen, it does work very well. So hopefully on this one, that'll be fine as well. Even more there, so more that's a bit more about fitting the buffer beams, shows you how to do it. Again, some really good drawings there. And even more, so this is removing the body should you need to do that. It's just held on by a few clips by the looks of it, so that's good. So should you need to get access to the inside, then hopefully that shouldn't be too hard to do. A bit more there, so running in your model and maintenance, so that's fair enough. So running in half an hour in each direction, so that's good. Yeah, we'll do that later. More on the model, the roof panel. So if you want to just literally chip the loco, then you can, a bit like a Curascale have done in the past on quite a few of their models. You can just take off this panel on the roof, which again is held on by magnets, take the blanking plate out, fit a chip, and that's all you should need to do for the most part, I think. Even more there. God, they really have literally included absolutely everything. I think that's a bit about fitting the ESU passive radiated speaker. If you haven't got a sound fitted version, so I believe it's just the sound fitted versions that do come with these, the DCC ready versions don't. So if you want to fit sound to this yourself, that shows about fitting the speaker. Next page. God, there's so much here, I can't believe it. So a bit more there. So that's about I think fitting drivers and getting access to the cab. That's fitting the blinds, that's fair enough. I think that's about setting the switches for the lighting, that's fair enough. And more about that, about the switches. I think that's even more there about the model. Yeah, even more there, so different lighting. That's a bit about the functions. Yeah, for sound, we've also got one there, so we'll look at that in a minute. More about the model. I can't believe how much information there is. It just really is insane. They've literally gone to every length they can to make this as detailed as they can. And this is just more about sort of driving the loco, getting a realistic feeling with it. Also stuff like that. So people wheel sets, should you want those. And then more things there, spare parts, and then future releases there. So I think that talks about the second batch of 56 is coming. I'm guessing the next page will probably be similar. Yeah, that's basically the same. And yeah, so yeah, loads and loads of information in there. That's really good. Probably spent a bit too long on that really, but might as well have had a look through it. So this is the actual sheets here, which details all of the different sound functions and their CBs and everything, so that's good. So that'll come in use later when we test the sounds. Next thing here, so I think this is about fitting the nameplates. Yeah, I think, is it? Yes, it is. So fitting the nameplates, because Cavalex don't tamper print any nameplates onto any of their locos. So if you want to fit the etched nameplates, which we've actually got here. Have a quick look at these, if we can. There you go, see them there, and yeah, they look very good. Nice quality, nicely painted, obviously metal as well, so yeah, we'll fit those at a later date as well. And then we've got this specially designed jig here, which is specific to each individual loco, so that you can then line it up correctly on the loco. So I'm guessing you would line this up with one of the grills on the side, and that helps you fit the nameplates in the exact right place, which is fair enough. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of this. I think it would have been nice for them to tampo print the nameplates on the side, and so then you easily know where to put the edge metal ones, so you don't need this jig or anything. But that's what they decided to do, so fair enough. So then with all out of the way, we can now take this off and reveal the locomotive. So 3, 2, 1. There we go. And there she is. Look at that. You can already see just how detailed this model is. Absolutely amazing. So before we look at that, we'll have a quick look at these accessories. So I think this is just the buffer beams and everything. So we got, so first thing, we've got the couplings there, the blinds, and then we've got these two bits here. And what they are for is so that when you take the loco off the cradle, obviously you'll have 2 screw holes left over, which, well, they won't be visible, but obviously you'll know they'll be there on the bottom of the fuel tanks. So you can then literally take those 2 bits of plastic, and they just slot into these screw holes underneath the loco, and essentially just cover them up and fill them in so they're out of the way, essentially. So it's quite good that they do that. We've got one of the buff beams there as well, so that's the one for the coupling to go through, and the other one is exactly the same. Okay, so they fitted both fully detailed ones at the factory, which is, I suppose, it's fair enough. Personally, I think it would be nicer to maybe have one detailed, one with the coupling fitted. Maybe I think that would be a bit more user friendly, but oh well, beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. I believe that's it. I don't think there's anything else inside, or is there something else there? It looks like there's something else, or is that just me? I know that's part of the cradle, just reflecting with the light. Fair enough. So let's gently lift her out. Oh. God, she's heavy. God, she really is heavy. Bloody hell. Can't believe the weight of this. This is insane. But yeah, we will get her off the plinth in a minute, but we'll have a quick look at her at the moment, just check that everything's okay. But yeah, you can already see, before we have a quick look at her, yeah, you can just already see how well detailed this loco is. There's just so many details and various sort of painted parts absolutely everywhere. It really is insane. I can't believe that. Okay, I see. Okay, yeah, I think, okay. I think that rattling sound maybe is the centre axle then. Someone did say when I asked about the sort of rattling sound that it might be the centre axle. But when I first sort of heard it, it sounded like it was coming up from inside the body. But nope, I think it is just that axle moving about on the plinth. Okay, that's fair enough. So I'll quickly go away. I'll quickly take out those 2 screws holding the loco to the base. And then we can come back and we can have a look at in detail properly. So I'll be back in a second. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so there we go. Literally a few seconds later and all done. Taking the screws out, and we are all good to go now. Quickly before I carry on, you can see there the 2 screw holes that I mentioned earlier, with those 2 sort of plastic lug parts that come in the detail bag. If I just grab them, there we go. So yeah, that's what I meant. So those 2 plastic bits there, you can actually take them out, put them in those 2 holes there, and that will just cover them up and sort of just get them out of the way, essentially. Obviously, you don't have to do it, but again, it's nice that they've done that. But there we go, and just wow, just wow. Look at this, people. This is just amazing. Cavalex, you guys really are up there. This loco is absolutely fantastic. The detail is just, it's just amazing. It's just absolutely out of this world. I mean, I don't really know what else I can compare it to. I suppose, obviously, Akira scale would be the only manufacturer that I can really think of that's sort of on par with Cavalex in terms of detail and features on their locos like this. Obviously we do have a Class 60 coming from Akira scale as well, probably relatively soon as well. I don't think they're massively far away. It could literally be a matter of months or something before the Akira scale version arrives. And when that does, I think it'd be quite good to actually compare them and just, sort of see what they're like next to each other. But even still, just having this logo here, I just lost for words. It's just absolutely beautiful. But anyway, come on, I've got to get my words. We need to have a look at it, don't we? So first things first, the livery application. Well, I think what is there to say? It's amazing. It's so beautifully done. I can't see any issues with the paint anywhere. The transitions between the different colours is absolutely beautiful. It's nice and crisp. There's no random splodges of paint anywhere. It really is amazing. The decoration on the bogies as well. You can see all the piping there that's picked out. And the bogies turn quite nicely as well. They almost feel a bit more flimsy actually than the Hornby ones. I'm used to having the Hornby ones almost being slightly better fixed than this. But obviously that's just how they've been designed. I suppose one difference that's quite major on difference to these mechanism-wise compared to the Hornby one is that the centre axles on these are not driven. They're literally just dummies. They still pick up power, obviously, but they are not driven. I'm not too sure why Cavalex did this, but they did. Not that it's really going to affect the pulling power of the loco too much, because it still weighs a ton. And while every other axle is driven, and the motors in here are massive, so you're still going to get some really good haulage from these. So definitely, but yeah, okay, I suppose it's a fair enough decision they decided to do it. But well, I suppose we can't complain too much. Certain, as I said, they're still going to be really good haulers, aren't they? And I'm sure, hopefully, the other people that have these can, I suppose, justify that. And well, I suppose when we get on the track later, we'll try and get some wagons behind her and see what she's like with those. But yeah, absolutely amazing. You can see all the other painted details on the other bogie there. Got the painted details on the fuel tanks as well, even the little details there as well. Beautifully painted. That's really good. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. That's really spot on, that is. And again, no paint blemish anywhere. Brilliant. The cabs as well. I suppose we should see how the cabs are painted, if we can get a decent angle in there. But yeah, hopefully you can see a bit in the cabs there. The lighting in here isn't the absolute best, so it can be quite hard to get some decent cab shots at times. But hopefully you can see in there all the various details, all painted, all picked out. Yeah, that's beautiful. That really is beautiful. The ends of the loco as well. Might as well have a look at that. You can see the white outlines there on the buffers, which are sprung. That's good. You can see the DC rail branding there, the loco's running number. And this is one of the I suppose buff beams. I was about to say snowplow then, which I suppose it kind of is, but it is technically the buffer beam. That's what we generally call it. You can see the pipes there. You've got the chain link coupling, which is similar to the 56, is actually movable. So it does actually swing from left to right. It's going to be quite hard to show you without getting in the way. But it does move left and right, which is quite good. So if you do actually decide to use that, hopefully it'll be quite reliable. I'm not too sure how well it will work, but I'm sure it will work to some extent. You can see the lights there as well, and I'm sure those will work later when we get on the track. Got the separately fitted lamp iron there on the front. The detail on the bogies, well, I suppose this is the main thing that catches your eye, isn't it? There's so much detail on there, and it's all painted as well. There's so many little details on these bogies, and they've been done so well. Again, I can't see any issues anywhere. It's all been done so well. It really is beautiful. What's the other bogie like? Yeah, just as good. But, well, why wouldn't it be? You can even see through the grills there. I believe they are proper edge metal grills. Yes, they are. You can see in there all of the detail behind the grills. I'm just struggling for words. I really am. It's such an amazing model. I really just don't know what to say about it. It's just beautiful. Gosh, not another loco. Not another loco like this. Oh. And they're going to keep on coming, aren't they? I mean, especially from Cavalex. Locos like this, I think they're always going to blow us away, aren't they? Unless you do get a bad example, which, well, certainly from what I've heard with Cavalex is very rare. So I think with the 56s, there were barely any issues that I heard of that people had with them. They were basically, for the most part, just bulletproof, completely solid, amazing models overall. I just can't get over it. It really is amazing. All the riveted detail there on the exhaust ports, on the roof as well. More grills there, which again, beautifully moulded and beautifully fitted as well. Oh, camera struggling to focus. Try to have a look at the other end as well. And yeah, just as good on the other one. So more spring buffers there, which again, beautifully painted there with the white outlines. Again, we've got the lights there, which I'm sure again we'll see working later. We've got more details around the cab. You've got the wipers there, you've got the horns. Another beautifully detailed and painted cab. You've got the handrails by the doors as well. You've got the other buff beam there, as we can see. Again, just well detailed with the piping and everything. Yeah, she's just amazing. She's just absolutely amazing. There's no other way to describe it, in my opinion. She's just absolutely beautiful. Very, very heavy model, beautifully detailed, beautifully decorated. I suppose that all she really needs now is to perform amazingly. And if she does that, well, it's going to be hard for, I think, many other models to beat this. So let's get her on the track. We'll give her a test. Obviously, she's not going to need running in because she's brand new, so we'll do that as well. And we'll see how she runs. Okay, so here we are back up by the layout. Let's just grab the loco and we'll get her on. Be very, very careful. I can't get over how heavy she is. Such a heavy loco. Let's get all of those wheels on. So having those non-driven centre axles will probably make this a little bit more interesting than other locos. But I think we're there, just make sure. Yeah, looks like all wheels are on, that's good. Now before we get her running first, before we give her a test, I think it'd be interesting to have a quick look through the various lighting functions that this model has. We won't do any of the sounds at the moment, we'll do those later once she's all been run in. But we don't need to really have the loco moving or anything to have the to see what the lights are like. So let's do function 0, because that should be daylight, it says on the instructions. Let's just put those on. Oh, okay, yes, they're on the other end. Okay, that's fair enough. So let's change direction. Yep, hopefully you can see those there. Seem to only have one bulb working at the moment, so there's nothing over on this side. Let me show what that's like in the other direction quickly. Okay, so no, it is the same on the other end, so maybe there is just so many different lighting functions for this. Are the marker lights on a different function? Let's have a look. Have a scroll through the lights. Okay, so next function is function 8, which is tail lights. So let's try that quickly. We'll change direction, see if they're on. Oh, yeah, there we go. Hopefully you can see that there. Yeah, they look good, not too bad. And check they're working the other end, which they are, that's good. So we'll turn those off now. Function 9 is night lights, so let's have a look at that. Yeah, that's good, we can see there. So the main headlights are swapped over to the other side. And again, we'll check that's working on the other end, which it is, that's good. So we'll turn that off. Next one, function 10 is yard mode. So let's have a look what that's like. Do we need to have function 0 on for that? I'm not sure. We'll leave function 0 on for now to see if it does anything. Oh yeah, yes it has. So we can see there, so we've now got both the main headlights on there. And we'll make sure that's working the other end. It should be. Yes it is, that's good. Oops, still got the tail lights on there. Thought I'd turn those off. I have done, but they're still on. What happens to turn on function 0? Nope. Or do the tail lights come on with yard mode? Okay, I see. So I think having the turning on yard mode also turns on the tail lights at the relevant ends. That's fair enough. So turn that off. Now change direction again to get back this way. There we are. Function 11 is the engine room lights. So let's have a look at what they're like. Oh, that's cool. Don't think the camera's picking up incredibly well. If I move her forward a bit, there you go. I hope you can see them there. They're not flickering. Don't know why the camera's showing them as flickering, but they're not. They are unstable, but that's quite good. So you get when you turn on the engine room lights, you actually get a sound of someone going into the engine room and then turning the lights on and going out again. So there's a bit of a delay of the lights coming on, which is quite cool. That's quite nice. So let's turn that off. I'm guessing we'll probably get the same sort of thing again. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and you can get a sound there of the actual light switch being thrown. That's quite cool. We've got any more lights? Yep, okay. Function 13 is the stabling lights. So I'm guessing this will probably be tail lights at both ends. Let's have a look. Yeah, tail lights that end. And yeah, and tail lights on the other end. That's cool. That works well. Next one, have we got any more? Okay, yeah, function 16 is the cab lights. So let's see what they're like. Yeah, there we go. Hope you can see them there. So we've got they come on that end. Again, they're not flickering. It's just the camera picking them up that way. And do they work in the other cab? Yes, they are. Hopefully you can see them there. They are on. That's good. So we'll turn those off. We got any more lighting? Oh yeah, function 22. We've got the hazard warning lights. So I believe this will just be, oh, wrong button. And this should just be the headlights flashing, I believe, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, there we go. Again, if I move it back a bit. There you go. That's the hazard lights. We've got both the headlights there flashing. That's quite cool. Turn those off. Have we got any more? It doesn't look like it. I think that is it. Yeah, looking through the function list, I think that is it for the lighting. So yeah, overall, that's not too bad. Nice, decent range of lighting, and they all work very well, so that's cool. So I think the next thing to do is we'll just give her a bit of a wiggle and see what she's like. So let's just give her a bit of power. Oh, and the other headlights come on. Okay, fair enough. And yeah, look at that. This is her first run. That's the first time she's ever ran, unless they tested her at the factory. That's the first time this loco's ever moved. And that is beautiful. Obviously the decoder will be partially responsible for that. A bit more. Oh, that's beautiful. Really, really smooth. Nice and consistent. And very quiet as well. Other direction. Try and go for the same sort of speed again if we can. Yeah, that's brilliant. Bring it to a stop. Obviously takes a while to speed up and slow down, but that's just that's just DCC for you. So let's bring it back into shot again, nice and slowly. Yeah, that's beautiful. Really, really beautiful. And this is without running in either. Also on analog it might be slightly different. So analog you do tend to notice a bit more of an improvement, I suppose, as running in goes in. With DCC, you do sometimes notice a bit of improvement after running in, but normally with how good decoders are these days, a lot, especially more expensive ones like the lockdown decoders in these, normally you don't see a massive improvement with running in. You might see the loco being a bit faster, stuff like that, but for the most part, generally, performance-wise, I'll be very, very surprised if we get even better performance than that after running in, because that's incredible. But anyway, the next thing we need to do then is set her off around the layout, half an hour in each direction, get her all running, all warmed up and all lubricated. Then we can come back and we can fire up the sounds. So 50% speed, let's get her run in. So maybe she is a little bit slow at the moment. This is 50% power on the controller, and it is a little bit slow, I would say, in my opinion. But then again, these locos can only do 60 miles an hour in real life. So I suppose if I were to probably set the power to full, I'm sure she would do that speed quite easily. But then again, she probably will. Hopefully, she will speed up a little bit as running in commences and goes on. But either way. Brilliant, really, really smooth, very consistent. Excellent. So we'll go away now, we'll leave her to run in, and then we'll come back and we'll see what their sounds are like. Okay, so we are back. The loco is now all nicely running, just had a good amount of time in both directions, all fully running and nicely lubricated. And yeah, overall, can't fault the performance of this loco. She's handling the layout very well. There's no derailments, still very smooth and very consistent. And the motor does have a little bit of a groan to it, but I think going off what other people have said about theirs and sort of seeing other videos from other people, that does sort of seem to be how these motors are. But certainly in my experience, I can't fault it too much. It's still a very good motor, certainly from what I've seen so far. Very good, powerful motor, again, very smooth and consistent. Just has that usual sort of grumble to it. But yeah, overall not too bad. Maybe there's a little bit of a squeak from the loco here and there, but again, she is still very new, so probably just needs a little bit more running over time. But yeah, overall, very good performance. One thing that I have done as well since finished running her in is I've also fitted a coupling to one end, and which also means swapping out one of the fully detailed buffer beams for one of the ones with the cutout in it for the coupling. And overall, certainly the execution of these buffer beams and swapping them in and out with the magnets has been done very well. But unfortunately, there is a slight issue in terms of the moulding of the buffer beams with the hole in them for the couplings. Unfortunately, the way they've been moulded, unfortunately, isn't quite right. In a sense, that's the gap in the buffer beam that's been left for the coupling to go through. Unfortunately, isn't quite big enough. You do unfortunately have to do a slight modification to it to get it to fit. Now, I believe Cavalex have addressed this, and that the reason that this issue is here is I think it was something like that the factory used the exact same moulding to mould these buffer beams for the couplings. They use the same moulding as the ones as the fully detailed ones here that don't have the gap in them for the coupling. I believe it was something like that. So that's what they said, and they did say that in order to modify the buffer beams that are designed to have the couplings fitted to them, to essentially make that gap bigger, you just need to take a small craft knife and just cut off about 0.5 millimeters worth of plastic, extra plastic, off the top of that buffer beam, at the top of the gap that the coupling goes through, and that then makes the gap big enough for the coupling to fit through. And indeed, so that's what I did on the buffer beam that I fitted to this loco, and it works perfectly fine now. The coupling goes in relatively easily, and there's plenty of clearance. If I just grab the extra buffer beam, hopefully I can sort of show you what I mean by this extra bit of plastic. So hopefully, this is probably going to be a bit difficult to show, but it's literally this little bit of plastic just here that I'm just, sort of running the knife along now. It's just that extra piece there. So all you need to do is just grabbing a knife is just cut off this little bit of extra plastic here, and the gap is then big enough for the coupling to go through, because if you fit it to the model literally as it is here, this bit of plastic obscures the NEM pockets on the loco a bit too much, and there's not enough clearance for you to actually fit the coupling through this gap and into them pockets. There's not enough clearance with this plastic here. So a little bit of a quality issue there, unfortunately, but luckily it's not something too major. I suppose for some people, they're not really going to want to go hacking at their brand new models with a knife for having to make modifications like this. But luckily, there could be worse things that could be wrong with the model, but fortunately, we still do have a minor issue here, so it is going to lose us a little bit, a small mark for that, unfortunately, on the quality and for that small issue. But again, it could be worse. It's only a minor thing, but still, really, shouldn't really be seeing things like that. But anyway, minor issues with the buffer beams out of the way. Again, once it's all done, the couplings do go in relatively easily, and there does seem to be plenty of movement in them for going around corners as well. I have tested this coupling on the small second radius here, because this is the only second radius curve I have on the layout, and I've been able to drag various wagons and stuff around that corner absolutely fine. So when we go to couple this up to a train later, it should handle that absolutely fine. We shouldn't see any sort of snagging of the coupling on the buffer beam or anything. But anyway, the next thing we need to do is test these sounds and see what they're like. I've got all of the lights switched off at the moment, so I'll switch those back on later. And when we go to run the thing, and when I say I've got the lights off, I've still got the headlights on there at the front there, but all the other lights are off at the moment. But at the moment, what we need to focus on is those sounds. So we'll leave the engine off at the moment, and we'll try and do as many other sounds as we can without the engine running. There probably will be a few where we need to have the engine running to listen to them, but we'll try and do as many as we can without the engine running so we can hear them better. So function 2 is the two-tone horn, so let's try that. Yeah, that's not too bad, quite loud as well, so that's quite nice. Function 2 also has an independent brake function on it, and in order for that to work, you need to have function 25 on to essentially use that. So that's quite interesting. Yeah, it says on the instructions, function 25, if it's off, as we had there, that does the two-tone horn. If you have function 25 on, then it's the independent brake. So essentially two different functions there on function 2. So that's quite nice. I suppose they could have done it as a separate function, but that's how they've done it nonetheless. Function 3 is the high tone horn, so let's try that. Yeah, that's quite good, and obviously the longer you leave that function enabled, the longer the horn will play for. Then function 4 is the low tone horn, and this is a similar sort of thing, so let's try that. Yeah, very, very good. Function 5 is the drive lock, so that will be the function that essentially locks the speed of whatever the loco is doing, and then you can just, by applying power, that will change the tone of the engine sounds. So that's good. Function 6 is heavy train mode, and similar to function 2, you need to have function 25 on to have that as well. Function 27 is flange squeal. It says there's something, function 25 does something on that as well, I'm guessing, I think. Or does it mean you have to have, anyway, I see it, you just have to have function 25 off for that to work. So I'm guessing if you've got function 25 enabled, then the flange squeal won't work, I believe. Oh, I see. No, that's sorry. Apologies. Ignore me. That's me reading the instructions wrong. So function 7 again has 2 different functions, a bit like function 2 did. So with function 7, with function 25 off, so by default you get the flange squeal. If you have function 25 enabled and then play function 7, that then does the notch up sound for the engine. So that's okay. That's fair enough. That's quite good. Next sound needs to do. That's various lighting functions. Function 12 is the next one, which is the Spirex valve, so let's give that a go. Yeah, fair enough, not too bad, and that's quite good. Next sound is the function 15, which is coupler clank, so let's try that. Yeah, fair enough. Ooh. Okay. So enabling it and disabling it both plays a sound, that's fair enough. Next one, we've got the AWS test, which is function 18. Let's try that. Yeah, fair enough. Function 19 is sound fader, so I'm guessing that probably just turns the sound off temporarily when you're running the loco. Function 20 is the compressor, so let's try that. No, can't play that, which is fair enough. We need to have the engine running for that. 21 is emergency brake. We'll leave that. Actually, no, we'll try it. Let's see if there's actually a sound on that. Let's give it a go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. That does work. Ooh, okay, still playing. Next sound we'll do function 23, which is the cab in. So driver enters the cab. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, okay. Function 24 is the cab out, which is the driver leaving the cab. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, fair enough. Basically almost exactly the same as the other one, so I suppose they could have really just had one sound for the cab door instead of having 2 different functions, but fair enough, they've done it anyway. Function 25, we sort of talked about earlier. It says it's listed as the manual notching logic, so yeah, a bit of a complex one, but that's basically for enabling other functions on some of the other function keys. So we're not really going to get any sound from that at the moment, so we'll leave that. Function 26 is the apply or release the parking brake, so let's try that. I have no idea how long this is going to go on for. It's going on for quite a while. Are you going to stop or are you going to keep going? A very long function, this one. I have disabled it, by the way, so I'm guessing this is the releasing of the brake. Yeah, there we go. Okay, finally done. Fair enough. Function 27 is the fire alarm bell, so let's try that. Yeah, fair enough, as the name suggests. Function 28 is disable brake set or release release automatic. I have no idea what that does. I'm guessing that might be a function for something else, but let's give it a go and see if it does anything. No, as I suspected, no, it doesn't do anything, so that's fair enough. Function 29 is the compressed air let off, so let's try that. If we can do it. I don't think we can actually. I don't think the controller actually goes high enough. There doesn't seem to be a lot of controllers that I know of can actually do that many functions, so that's fair enough. So I think that's it for now. So let's fire up the engine sound then. Yeah, that's not bad, that. That's really, really nice. Yeah, that's beautiful. A nice volume to it. Very good quality as well. Yeah, that sounds excellent. So then, I think what we need to do is let's apply some power and we'll see what it's like. Give her a quick wiggle back and forth to see what those engine sounds are like. Oh yes. Wow, that's brilliant. Really, really good. The other direction. Wow, that's beautiful. Really, really good sound file there. But I think before we get a running properly around the layout for the sound going, I think we should just go straight in, get some wagons coupled up to her, and get her pulling a train. I don't have fully prototypical wagons available at the moment, so to run behind her, and they're still yet to be released. So I'll grab whatever I've got, so I'll try and get it as realistic as I can, and I'll get a big heavy freight train behind her, and we'll get her running. So I'll quickly grab some wagons, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and I did tell a bit of porky earlier. I haven't actually put a big heavy freight on her, but I have put a couple of wagons on. What I've done is I grabbed the two Revolution Trains JNA box wagons that I've got, because these will be the sort of wagons that she'll be pulling. Obviously not in this livery, it will be in the VTG or Kappa Blue that this loco will mainly haul. So I grabbed the two wagons that I've already got at the moment. Obviously she won't all be hauling these exact wagons most of the time. I thought it'll give a somewhat decent representation of, I suppose, the sort of train that this model will be hauling. Obviously it will be longer than this, but either way it'll be a good test. And at least we've got something behind the loco, and it'll also be a good way of seeing how those couplings cope as well, going around the layout whilst coupled to a load. So, without further ado, let's get the loco running with possibly the world's smallest freight train and see what she's like. Well, I tell you what, she's handling that, no problem at all. Which I suppose is to be expected. It's not exactly a massive load, is it? But certainly no issues with the couplings there. The kinematics are working very well. The coupling is not being fouled by the buffer beam. But yeah, overall, an absolutely amazing locomotive. Well done, Cavalex. You really have nailed this one as well, just like the 56. Another absolutely fantastic model. So the only issue really I can think of with this model is that issue with the buffer beams, where they foul the coupling out of the box. But apart from that, pretty much everywhere else, every other area of this loco is absolutely second to none. Amazing detail, amazing performance, amazing sound file as well. Yes, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Really do recommend you get one of these if you can. Absolutely fantastic. So now let's have some ratings for Cavalex's brand new DC Railfreight Class 60 with DCC sound. The detail on this loco then, it's got to be 10 out of 10. Cavalex really have nailed the detail and the livery application on this model. It really is second to none. As I said, a beautiful livery application. It's all very crisply done, very well applied. The detail as well, everywhere you look, there's just detail absolutely everywhere, right from the top of the roof down to the bottom of the bogies. It really is absolutely incredible. Definitely 10 out of 10. I definitely wouldn't give it anything less. The performance as well of this loco, overall, yeah, I can't fault it. A beautiful runner, the sound file from the model is excellent as well. It really is absolutely brilliant. The motor is ever so slightly noisy, and even with the sound on, as loud as it is, you still can just about hear that motor noise underneath the sound as well. But it's only a minor thing, and you know what, it's not incredibly major for me, and I still think it doesn't really let the model down by any means. So I'm still going to give it a 10 out of 10. I still think it's a beautiful performer, really excellent there. The quality of the model overall, it is absolutely brilliant. The only reason I've marked it down is, as I mentioned earlier, the slight issue with those buffer beams, with the gap in them for the couplings, with the slight issue with the moulding on them. Only a minor issue, but still, for any loco, especially at this price, I shouldn't really be seeing any issues like that. So I've only marked it down for that, but apart from that little issue, everywhere else, quality-wise, is absolutely brilliant. The loco is very well built. As I've said, the livery is very well applied, loads of features, yeah, really good quality overall. The value for money overall is still really good as well. I would say the price of these is still maybe a little bit high, but it's certainly nothing major. Akira Scale are doing locos pretty much, basically I would say as the same detail and quality as this, but obviously for a slightly cheaper price. So I've only marked the value for money down ever so slightly. I still say the price for this is still pretty good. You definitely get what you pay for. Still an absolutely amazing model. Yeah, really good overall there. The overall score then, 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, very well deserving. It's a great model. There really is nothing else to say about it. It really is a brilliant locomotive. Very well done Cavalex. Very well deserving score. Brilliant loco. Definitely can't wait to see what else you're going to do.